to Why Though the Podcast. Hi, Destiny.
Hello, Lizzy. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm okay. Alive and glad to be.
Oh, me too.
Yes.
Can't believe that it's like late mid-November at this point.
Next week is Thanksgiving.
That is BANANAS, as Kelly would say on The Office.
Agree. Also, Gwen Stefani.
Yeah, I believe she took it from a song.
Yeah, my best friend said that to me this morning, and I was like, oh, that's so wild.
That is.
Which also means it'll be my 1-year hospital-versary soon.
Oh, wow.
Send your gifts.
So glad you're outside of the hospital.
Thank you, me too.
Better out than in.
Absolutely, agreed. How was your weekend? Do anything exciting?
You know what? I did. I went to Disney on Ice yesterday.
Oh my gosh.
With apparently like a ton of people I knew like posted on Instagram they were at Disney on Ice
so
after.
funny.
And I was like, oh, I guess we were all at Disney on Ice.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Did Nona love it?
She loved it.
Love that.
I loved it. I mean, I had no idea what to expect, to be honest.
Sure.
I was like, it's going to be like really rinky-dink. It was at Veterans Memorial Coliseum where I saw the Dalai Lama in high school, by the way.
Wow.
But I've also seen the Winterhawks there, and that's not always it's fun. It's fun, but it's like it's not a Blazers experience.
Sure.
Blazers but man, it was a good show. There was pyrotechnics. There were people coming down from the ceiling, flying. I mean, it was very cool.
That's very cool.
Wouldn't recommend the snow cone there, however. It cost $20 and it tasted like they'd scraped it off the ice rink.
That's a lot.
It's a lot. We were talking about it, my husband and I were like, this is more expensive than a snow cone you'd get at Disneyland and tastes 1,000 times worse. Because at Disneyland, the food actually tastes good.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know,
that's like its thing.
That's one of the things. Yeah. So it's like, this was bad. This was very bad.
Oh.
Disney, get your snow cone game together, or just don't sell snow cones at, Disney on Ice. You could sell like an ice cream.
Yeah.
Same effect.
Soft serve.
Yeah.
You can really never go wrong.
Yeah.
Well, that's very exciting. Welcome to Why Though the Podcast. This is a podcast where we take Lizzy's, in my very informed opinion, critically acclaimed, in my opinion only, and others.
Someday we will be critically acclaimed. If you're a critic, acclaim us.
But I'm acclaiming that her advice column from the Oregonian, which you can find at OregonLive.com/whythough. It's a great column where she gives lots of great advice. And we take the questions that people send her through email, carrier pigeon, blimp, whatever.
Or text.
And then we talk about it. And if you would like to text Lizzy Acker, you can do that.
You can text me. You just text the word advice to 503-751-8731 and then click the link and subscribe. And I will text you. I will legit text you every day something from my brain to yours.
Can you even imagine?
It's
if you could only be so lucky.
It does cost a little money, but it's worth every penny.
Yeah, the first 2 weeks are free, and then it's like,
you know what? Try it for 2
cheap.
weeks. Just do me a favor and try it for 2 weeks. Do me a favor, because my boss did say if I got a certain number of people to do it, she would get me a mug with my face on it. So I don't remember what that number is, but just try it for 2 weeks. Guys.
And I would love to sit here with a mug with Lizzy's face on it. I don't even know that I would drink anything out of it, but I would just sit here with it. Which reminds me that I left my energy drink in my car in the parking garage, which is fine.
So sorry for your
loss. That's okay. We do have a question this week. It is holiday themed, which I guess is good because I am being absolutely browbeaten by Christmas. Already. Everywhere I go, Christmas music, Christmas decorations. It's like the turkeys that have yet to die for our gluttony have no space in this decorations. We have no more room to give thanks. We are only Christmasing, which I know you also celebrate Hanukkah, so I'm sure I'm preaching to the choir of annoyance every year.
You know what?
But
I actually was just like, I embrace it. I am a real... I'm a secular humanist when it comes to my, spiritual belief system or whatever. But I do love to celebrate Hanukkah. I'm a little Jewish. My grandpa was Jewish, and we would celebrate Hanukkah. And I just think it's pretty fun to have a holiday in there where it's 8 days.
It's pretty cool.
Another excuse to give presents, which I actually love giving presents.
I do too.
It's one of my favorite things.
I'm also fun. Not to brag, a really good gift wrapper.
Really?
My mom's a really good gift wrapper, but we're all about we curl the ribbon with the scissors,
nice.
It's like all color coordinated, and we're really into it. So I'm about it. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. I'm not a Christmas hater. Love Christmas. Just feel like you're forcing it a little bit early.
Yeah. Have I told you on this podcast about how one of the things people think I'm anti-Christmas because I am anti-lying to your kids about Santa Claus. I think there's no point. And that is a very controversial take.
Oh, it is, yeah.
People are like, wow, you're denying your child magic. Anyway, I like wrote about this before I had a child. And people are like, you don't get it. When you have a kid, you won't, you know. And so as soon as Nona was born, infant, I'm like, Santa's not real. Santa's not real. I'm Santa. Your dad's Santa. We tell her this all the time. She doesn't believe us, Destiny.
That's so funny. I was going to say, did she tell other children?
She doesn't, because she thinks I'm lying to her about the fact that Santa isn't real. Isn't that like, it's just like the funniest possible outcome?
Yes.
Is that she's like,
she's playing
She's like, so what are you nocturnal? Like, that's what she's like. I bet it's somebody who's nocturnal. She legit is like, why?
She's big braining you.
Yeah. It's really funny.
She says, I know what you're capable of, and this doesn't seem
not
right.
it. Yeah, she's like, I don't think you could. Like last year was like, you guys, obviously this isn't you. You can't stay awake all night.
I've seen you fall asleep on the couch. That's so funny.
Yeah. So anyway, I stand by it. But
when I was like 8, I backed my mom into a corner, asking her questions like, how could Santa possibly be real? I was like coming to the logical conclusion that it couldn't possibly be real, because I didn't know anybody who had a fireplace in Florida either. So like the chimney thing, it was like a whole thing. And finally I just forced her to tell me that it wasn't true, but then my feelings were hurt.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to believe.
Yeah, sure.
But she had no choice but to be honest with me, because I had like just completely logicked it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, when you make
there was no
kind
winning.
of argument.
There was no winning in that situation, of course, but that's being a parent, I guess.
Yeah, there is no winning. Turns out there is no winning. But you know what? She'll never be able to say I lied to her.
Exactly. There you go. Yeah. I wasn't upset that my mom had lied. I was upset that Santa wasn't real.
I guess my argument is more that like it's a capitalist fantasy.
Yes.
That the better you are, the better presents you get.
In childhood.
Oh yeah, it's all magic. It's all magic. So you don't have to believe that like being good equals getting more presents from a strange man who enters your house.
Right.
Because then what does that say about people who don't get presents or don't get good enough presents? You know, that they're not good.
Right.
Like, and that is a problem for me. Maybe not for you. I don't want to ruin your magic, but feel free to text
Lizzy.
me. Yeah. If you're mad about those things that I just said, text the word advice to 503-751-8731 and click the
link. That is kind of a hot take. I don't have any children, but I know that it's a hot take.
It's been hot in the newsroom. You know, this was one that people were like, they disagree with me.
Yeah, lots of people with children.
And that's absolutely fine. I will argue till my death on this because I just think it's a capitalist fantasy that doesn't help our children and actively hurts them. Anyway, let's move on to the question.
Yeah, so we have a question from Holiday Humbug. They say, Dear Lizzy, the holidays are coming up. That's very true. Like a freight train. And I have a confession. Ooh, juicy. I just really dislike one of my family members. Welcome to the club, bud. Welcome to the club. Over the years, I can point to a couple things they've done that I considered so rude that I probably would never speak to them again if they weren't my family. But it's more the small stuff that's just hard to explain. I honestly think I just don't like this person. The holidays are really the only time I have to see them anymore. So how can I make it through the next 2 months without losing it and yelling at them? Signed, Holiday Humbug.
Oh, Holiday Humbug. No comment on my family. Every single member of which I love and have never found annoying or rude in any moment. But yeah, I can see this is hard. This is, you know, the stuff that movies are made of. This is why there's so many holiday movies, because it's like everyone has to come together, personalities clash,
sure,
dietary restrictions clash, lifestyles clash. So how do you make it through? That's a good question. I mean, I guess since what you're saying is basically like there's not like one thing about this, but you're not saying like this family member is so offensive and is a racist. You know what I mean? Like, because I think there are some situations where you need to like stand up for what's right, possibly. But I don't think that's what you're asking. I don't think you're like presenting us with a person that like is morally reprehensible and you need to like take a stand.
Yeah, you just don't like this. Like what happens when you have to be in a space with somebody you don't like, but you have to still kind of respect for the peace.
Right.
Which is almost worse.
Yeah.
You know, like when
you're not justified in being like,
when you feel like you're choosing the right thing, you can kind of like, I mean, at least I can when I know that I'm on the right side, I can like endure conflict.
Right.
This isn't the case.
Right. So. This is not that, unfortunately. But, you know, it is also relatable because, like, there are actually more situations in our lives where we have to be around people we don't like. And we have to figure out how to just move forward.
Right.
Because, I mean, that's work. Not me, not this workplace, but other people.
Sure.
Maybe other jobs. That's the bus, you know, that's like, that's just life. So... But yeah, with your family, I feel like it is heightened because there's this feeling that you should love them. And there's this like years possibly likely of history.
Sure.
So how do you do it? How would I do it? Not that I have to, but like I think, you know, being kind goes a long way. Like try not to roll your eyes. Try to be the person who says hi kindly. But also you are allowed like not to engage too much with this person.
Absolutely.
You know, I this is like 90% of my advice is go for a walk, but like you can leave the house and go for a walk. Just so long as you're not like storming out of the house.
Right.
If you're just saying, oh, hey, I'm just going to like go for a walk, gonna listen to a podcast. Don't make it their problem because that'll just make the problem worse. I think, I do think one of the things you can do as an adult, which was honestly much harder for me when I was younger, but I can do better now, is just like, is care less. Like they don't reflect you. You don't have to agree with everything they say. You can just like listen and say, okay.
That's right? exactly
it. It used to be a lot harder for me in lots of situations. I could not let things go. I was a lot more likely to get in a fight for sure, but also I was a lot more likely to storm out of the house, you know, or start crying. I'm not going to say that I don't cry anymore at family get-togethers, but I have definitely left the table and cried in the bathroom at Christmas dinner once. I forget what it was that my uncle, who I love, said, but it was not nice. It was, I mean, this was like probably, I'm going to say 10 to 15 years ago. It was a long time ago. But it was insulting. Yeah. He insulted me and my intelligence. And I was like, I left. And I made it very clear why I was leaving. Now I might be like, and then just, you know, text my friend about it.
Right.
Talk to my husband about it later, you know. I don't know. What do you think? Is care less fair advice?
I think that's almost the only advice. Some people drink. I don't drink.
I don't think you should do that.
I'm my stasis. My preferred way of being is to talk to nobody, and it's not because I don't like people. It's just because I like to be alone more than I like most people, and I don't mean that in a sad way, and I don't mean that in a I'm a lone wolf kind of way. I just love to be in my own space, doing my own thing. So most social interactions at my job is very social.
Yeah. She works on social media.
I chose this job where I have to talk to people and interview people, but it has made me so skilled in talking about anything but myself.
Interesting.
I am so good at just keeping people talking about themselves, I don't even have to listen anymore. So I really employ those skills when I have to talk to people that I don't like.
Yeah.
I'm so good. This job will make you talk to people that you don't like, people whose opinions you don't agree with, people who you think are so far off base, but your
you
job,
still have to listen to them.
Absolutely. It's your job as a journalist to honestly listen to them. And if you're reporting on what they're saying, to report honestly on what they're saying. So you need to employ those listening skills and just, but when it's your family, you can kind of turn those listening ears off a little bit because what they're saying is not as important as somebody you're interviewing. And so I kind of do one of those. How are you? What have you been up to?
Yeah, I do like that.
What are you doing? I just don't
questions.
talk about myself because it gives somebody who I find irritating a little less ammo to be irritating to me. You know what I mean? Like,
totally.
Like, yes, people are irritating about their politics. People are irritating just like their habits, or maybe they're just like, you just have some people in your family who are just kind of like rude or like passive aggressive or like whatever, and they can still be that way, but like you have some control over the situation when you're asking for the information. And people feel really flattered. People love to talk about themselves. And so you can really turn the tides in your favor by doing something like that. So I really do turn that on. Great at smiling and nodding. And then by the time, before you know it, everybody is talking about what they're, all of a sudden there's a group of people and they're all talking about what they've been up to, and you don't have to talk to them anymore. Then you make your silent escape.
And then you go for a walk.
Yeah. Or you go into a corner and play on your phone or whatever.
Yeah. I think that's a really good one. Like, ask questions.
Yeah.
And compliment their dress.
Yeah.
Just
don't be
nice.
Antisocial. Don't be, you know what I mean? Like, don't give people a reason to make you out to be the person who's like causing the issue, because you're probably not. You know what I mean? Like, there doesn't need to be conflict. It doesn't need to be a big deal. We're all adults here. Just have you have to have conversations with people who irritate you every single day.
Right.
It's the same beef.
Yeah.
It's the same beef.
Yeah. I am like, I actually love holidays, and like, I love being around my family, and like, but there are, sometimes like it can get tense, and I have been, in fact, probably if you talk to my family, they'd be like, Lizzy is the problem.
Yeah, I have big feelings and big opinions.
I have like yelled at my brother, whatever. He's my brother. That's what they're there for. But I try not to do that anymore because there are plenty of children yelling at each other. So
it's their time to shine.
It's their time to do the yelling. And I like to have everyone there, but I also think, you just like, be as nice as you can, kill them with kindness, as my mom would say, like, ask questions, and also just try not to take it personally. Like, remember when somebody says something passive aggressive to you, it's about them, not you. And I know it's hard because it feels like a judgment on you, but just like they would say at Disney on Ice, like, let it go.
Let it go.
Let it go. Elsa, not much else I can say about that movie, but that phrase, let it go, is very useful.
Like, listen, I'm from like a small town in the South. And so like when you go back and you're around your family, I live a much different life than I used to live out here on the West Coast. And so when I go back, to some extent, those people don't really know the person that I am out here. Not that I'm like a completely different person around them, same personality. Just like they don't know what I get up to out here. You know what I mean? Like, they don't really know who my friends are, and like that's totally fine. But like, you get to go back and live your life, the life that you've created, outside of the sphere or the bubble of however your family might or might not irritate you.
Yeah.
And so like, ultimately, if you can't be around somebody for a few hours for dinner or something like that, like you
should figure that out.
Yeah.
That's a you problem. Because you do. It's a skill that we need to have to be around people we don't like.
It's a test of maturity.
Something we can practice, all of us. And and for the holidays, it's a great time to practice it. Yay.
And they happen every year, so you'll get lots of practice.
Many of them.
And it's honestly, I talk a lot about pausing to be grateful. We should be grateful that we get to be around our family for the holidays because not everybody does, you know? So even the irritating family members, it's nice to have people to be around. It's nice to be in a nice warm house with food.
Yeah.
Loved ones.
Lots of people don't have families.
So sometimes it takes a little perspective too.
Yeah, totally. I think we got that.
Yeah.
I think we advised that.
I think so too.
Should we smash or pass?
Yeah, we should. Do you have?
I had one. Okay. I've got a smash, Destiny.
Okay.
I am going to tell you about the book that I read. I know I was like on the fence about smashing this book. I finished it.
Okay.
Let me just...
I'm ready.
Pull up the author's name so I get it right. But it's called The Covenant of Water.
Oh.
And Covenant of Water. It's by Abraham Verghese. I think that's... I don't know how you say it. I could be mispronouncing it. And this was 715 pages long.
Ooh,
which
is a long one.
Yeah, and you know I've talked about this before. I have a problem where I read books too fast. So I was like 715 pages, amazing. This will take me. It took me a full week. So there's that. Yeah. Obviously, it was very entertaining. Oprah on the book said this is one of the best books she's ever read in her whole life. I do think that's a bit of an overstatement. I'm gonna say.
I don't even know how I would qualify that.
Yeah, I mean, like, I can, like, A Tree Grows in Brooklyn, I would say that. Okay. It's a really good book that I haven't read in a long time, but, you know, really impacted my life. Maybe Heartbreaking Work of Staggering Genius. I don't know. But, which I also haven't read in a long time. Maybe it's bad now. Both of those could be bad now. I don't know. Anyway, it's 715 pages, so it takes you a while, and it takes you through, basically from... this family from 1900 to 1977 in India, and then parts of it are also in Glasgow. And what I like about a book that long, and maybe not every moment of it was like the best. There were definitely points where I was like, oh, okay. But I love the perspective of a book like that, like entering a world where you can see generations. I love that. And I do like the way that when you're reading a book that long, you really enter the world and you become invested in it in a different way. So yeah, I'm probably going to give it a 4 out of 5 on Goodreads, not a 5 out of 5. But I do love it. And there's a lot of medical stuff in it. Another book this guy wrote was called Cutting for Stone, which my grandma loved. My grandma is dead. She loved books, and she was a nurse. And, you know, I think in a different time she would have been a doctor, and she loved medical stuff. And reading this book, I was like, oh, my grandma would have loved this book. I would have loved to share this with my grandma. So anyway, The Covenant of Water. Read it. It'll take you a while.
715 pages. Buckle up. Well, my smash isn't a book because I haven't fallen off of reading, but I do this annoying thing where, like, if I'm like getting ready to finish a series, I sort of lag. I start to lag a little bit. So I'm like 50% of the way through of the last book of this series I'm reading, and I've started to slow because I just start to drag my feet a little bit. But I do think my smash will be this is a little, it's personal to me, and nobody else is going to care. But I have a tiny nose. You can see it if you go to the Oregonian's YouTube page, where we post videos of this podcast. If you want to see what we look like, we look cute every week.
Adorable today. Destiny's got some great earrings on.
Thank you so much. I do have 3 nose piercings in my tiny nose. I have 2 in one nostril, and I have septum piercing. Can
you breathe?
I can. I just I had a nose, one of the nostril piercings had a nose ring that had like prongs, and I think it got caught on the towel when I was washing my face and must have come out. It didn't hurt. I did notice, but just one day I touched my face and I was like, oh, I'm missing a nose ring. Must have come out at some point. So I ordered some new ones. It's been so long since I've ordered body jewelry because I just wear the same thing and don't ever think about it. So I changed my nose jewelry.
That's
and
great.
It's been so long, and it was a fun time for me. And I tried new stuff, and let me tell you, I wear what I might call prohibitively long nails.
That must have been hard.
It's prohibitive only to putting maybe nose jewelry in your face.
Yeah, that sounds really hard.
So I used some tweezers instead, and it was fine. But it was a fun time for me. So maybe if you have facial jewelry and you're like me and you never change it, do something new and you'll feel fresh and fun and flirty.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
I wear the same earrings all the time.
Yeah, I wear the same. I have, my ears used to be gauged in the front hole, so I do change those earrings out, but the back hole it's just a normal one, and I just wear the normal earrings in it all the time.
Love earrings.
Nice earrings.
I can't wear like big earrings like that. They are deeply uncomfortable for me.
I'm like very allergic to fake metals, so I can only wear it for like a little bit, just basically like for the day, and then take them out. That's why I never change my nose stuff either, is because it can be a little expensive because I'm very allergic to like lots of metals, so I have to be very careful about where I get it and what it's made of and stuff. So be careful about that.
Be careful.
Careful with your skin.
I'm gonna pass.
Yeah, how's your pass?
My pass this week, and I don't mean this in a political sense. I'm not going to like express an opinion on this politically, but I'm going to pass on kids being out of school. Oh my gosh, for another week. I just feel so bad for all of the people I know whose kids are in school, especially elementary school aged kids that like need a lot of supervision. In Portland, in Portland, there's a teachers strike on right now. And I'm not weighing in on the teacher strike.
Neither side of the teacher strike, but just
the fact that
strike,
kids are out of school.
Kids out of school. Yeah,
I just feel so bad for these kids because so many of them were out of school for a year and a half for COVID. These are like the same kids. Yeah. I know a third grader who did kindergarten on Zoom and is now like, I just hope that this doesn't, I hope that they work it out. I hope all sides work it out because I just feel so bad for these kids, and I feel bad for their parents.
It's probably not easy for any
honestly
party
complaining.
involved.
No, just kidding. You deserve to complain. My child is not in school, in public school yet. So, but 2 years that'll be me. So I'm like, please work it out. And also, bummer to be out of school,
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah. So pass on that.
I'll agree. I don't have a child at home. I have a dog whose brain is the size of a lemon. So, my pass is gonna be on leaving. This is me. I didn't do this, but I almost did it, and I'm very glad that I didn't. But this is just a warning for people to take it very seriously, because I went on a deep dive into like Googling about this. I make so I'm like very fine about making like a large pot of food and eating the same thing the whole week. So I will make like a large pot of soup or a large pot of curry. I also have like a lot of dietary restrictions because of what's the matter with me. Totally fine. I will sometimes make that large pot of food, eat my serving for dinner, and then you don't want to put it hot into the fridge, so I'll like leave it out to cool. And I'll forget about it.
Oh no. Yeah, there was a story going around TikTok.
Pot of food will be sitting out. And there have been times in my life, because I don't eat a lot of meat, there's rarely meat. I eat a lot of tofu. Right. There's rarely meat in it, where I'll be like, it's fine, because there's not meat in it. I'll just like pop it in the fridge. Don't do that.
Let's use some food safety.
Yeah, you can Google that in your own time. Be sure to look for safe sources and multiple sources to get your information from. But let me just tell you that the fact that I have not died from some foodborne illness is probably a miracle. Yeah, considering my immunocompromised state. I really scared myself into like
you shouldn't leave food out at room temperature for 4 hours.
Correct. Yeah. And like
4 hours is too many hours.
Yeah. So I've started to make sure that I'm like setting an alarm. Right. So I'll turn back around and put it back in the fridge.
Put it away hot, honestly. Just like
just figure it out. Put it away. So my pass is,
or don't eat it.
I guess my pass is foodborne illness, but it's also me forgetting to put food away. And
let's I understand. I'm like very I don't know. I'm very concerned about the possibility of foodborne illness, and I throw things away all the time because I'm like, I would rather not die, guys. But I understand that, like,
I grew up like going to food kitchens with my Nana and stuff, and like, we were like pretty questionable about like our food safety. Like, I will eat around mold, and I will eat stuff past its expiration date. Like, I'm not you know, and I just, I don't know if I can afford to continue to be this way.
Maybe you should stop that.
And I just think that I've gambled and I'm going to pass
you've gambled and
on
you've
that.
won. So let's
yeah. So I don't suggest that you do this, and that's it.
Okay, great.
I Googled and I scared myself, basically.
Good. So food safety, guys.
Food safety.
Water safety,
Please.
food safety. Let's just focus on safety this month.
Yeah. I didn't do it, but I have in the past.
Okay.
Where my roommate, like, you know, we both wake up at like 6:30 in the morning and she's coming to my room like half asleep, like, I have bad news for you. And I'm like, no. Anyway.
Okay.
On to our last segment. We have a little bit of a puzzling question.
Well, yeah, this is from another advice column. Sometimes we like to read the questions from other advice columns and give our advice.
Yeah, we have a lot of advice columns. You can find them all at OregonLive.com. My personal opinion, my critically acclaimed and only my opinion. None of them as riveting as OregonLive.com/why though.
Yeah.
But this is Ask Amy. She is an advice giver that we carry on our website.
For some reason, a lot of them have A names. Annie, Amy, Abby.
Acker.
That's right. Ask Acker.
Ask Acker. This one is Ask Amy. Is tipping on a wedding dress purchase the thing now? ? And this is kind of weird. So it says, Dear Amy, I recently went shopping for a wedding dress with my daughter. Upon her excited exclamation of yes to the dress, we made our way to the purchase, part of the day's exciting shopping excursion. Upon the swiping of the credit card, the machine prompted me to enter a 10%, 15%, or 20% custom tip. Had I been in a restaurant, this would not have given me pause. But as we went through a similar process at a previous dress shop, upon which the same amount of time and service was extended to my daughter, we did not tip the previous consultant and no purchase was made. So my question is tipping on a wedding dress purchase the thing to do now these days? It was not done when my parents purchased my dress. Confused mother of the bride.
You know, I think is... Yeah, no, you don't have to tip on a wedding dress. In my opinion, I'm not sure what we can
so
see
Amy,
what she says.
So Amy says, no, there's no need to tip a sales associate. Furthermore, you might have expressed your surprise to the store manager. That's a lot. When the prompt appeared after you swiped your card. Getting the customer to say yes to the dress is part of the person's job. They do this job whether or not they make the sale, as you pointed out. Presumably, the salespeople are offered a commission on the sale or are compensated well enough to incentivize them to provide good, helpful, enthusiastic service. All of the costs already have been baked into the cost of the dress. Some grateful brides-to-be send thank you notes.
I mean, I think that's why I was like, I'm sure that they get a commission. Wedding dresses are so expensive. And I also think, I mean, I think I kind of agree with her because on the like, maybe say something to the store manager because maybe a couple of years ago, early on in this column, I did an advice question where it was someone had gone to like a self-service, like home goods store or something, and a tip appeared. You know, like they did all the work, and then it was like a tip. And I thought, well, maybe some of these things, like the system automatically is set up, the point of sale system with a tip amount. So I actually reached out to Square at that time, and they were like, no. Our system is not. Maybe it wasn't Square. We don't know if this was Square, but store owners set up how much the tip should be and what the amounts are. That's why it's different. It's like 10%, 50%, 20%, or sometimes you'll see 20%, 25%, 30%, and you're like, whoa, hey. So the store did set it up like that, and they should probably know that that's... I mean, it seems very uncool to me. I'm not sure, like, how much that dress was. I did not buy myself a wedding dress or buy a wedding dress at all. But I know they're thousands of dollars.
They can be
10% of thousands of dollars is a lot of money. And that's why those people who work there are earning commissions. So, but that tip screen is inherently guilting you into giving them more money, and you also don't know where that money's going.
It would give me pause to ask, do you earn commission?
Yeah.
Because I would only think it's acceptable to give somebody a tip on a purchase so large if they don't receive commission. I mentioned to Lizzy, she brought this to my attention. I said, well, you tip a tattoo artist on quite a large purchase. So, it is customary, like I've spent on some of my tattoos several $100s and given like a 20% tip, which was on top of that another couple $100. Yeah. You know what I mean? But they're spending the hours doing it. They don't get commission. So this is an appropriate tip.
Right. They're like an independent contractor basically too. A tattoo artist is like, it's like you give a tip to your hairstylist. Right. They're renting out that place.
Yes. So when I had first said that, I like conflated the idea of like a tip versus commission, because I was like, oh yeah, duh, they get commission. That's what that is. Yeah. So if I saw that, I would be shocked, and I would be like, do you, because I would be worried that girl wasn't getting commission. Yeah,
like you feel bad, you like that person.
I assumed it was a girl. Sorry, that was a little
might
sexist.
Not be getting paid enough or whatever. So I mean, I think plenty of people will be like, absolutely not, I'm not giving you a tip on thousands of dollar purchase. You don't tip the guy who sells you a car. He's getting commission for selling you the car. I mean, I used to work a long time ago at a picture frame shop, not for very long, but I got commission on big projects. You know, like even if you go to Nordstrom and you're like, someone's bringing you clothes, or even just put you into a
I worked retail for many years, and sometimes you spend hours with people.
Yeah, and they get commission.
I never did.
Well, okay. But that was places they do.
Yeah, but that was part of.
But they certainly
my job.
wouldn't tip you.
Correct.
That would have been awkward if somebody tipped you.
Yes, absolutely. And you would never ask for a tip, but that was baked into my job, right? So like, if I were spending time doing something else, I wasn't expected to be doing anything else. You know what I mean? Yeah. So like, it was part of my job, part of my job description. Much like for this girl, this is part of her job description. Yeah. And the reason why she gets commission is because she can't be doing other portions of her job while she's helping this girl. And she's bringing in such a large chunk of money. Right. That, you know what I mean? Like,
I think it's actually, that's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, I think it's okay to talk to the store manager, because it's irresponsible to put that tip screen there, because people will do it and they'll feel like they have to. And you know what? I'm going to say anecdotally, I think this is people that have less money are more likely to tip better. For sure. Because they know what it means to have less money. Yes. And like in all of my experience, the poorer the person, the more money they give you. And so that's really unfair to the people with the least amount of money who are like making this huge purchase. Yeah. And now they're like, oh shoot, maybe I can't make this purchase because I feel like I have to give this tip. Or like, maybe I don't even know that, like, we're talking thousands.
Yeah. Budgeting for another $1,000. Like, say you got, you know, a $10,000 dress is not out of the realm of possibility. And wedding dresses, do I think that's absurd? Sure. Totally. Not my business. Not my business. 10%, 5%, 1% of that is a lot of money. Right. And if you didn't budget for that, it's like people who eat out but don't tip. You know what I mean? Like, if you don't budget for that extra amount of money, which can sometimes be kind of substantial.
Yeah. Which when you're eating out, you should budget for that.
You absolutely should.
But when you're going to buy a wedding dress or buy a car or buy a house, no, the person selling you that is making a lot of money because they're selling you an expensive thing.
You hope they are. Yeah.
Right. That's why realtors sell houses. They get a lot of money from it.
Yeah. So I thought this was so strange.
Anyway, very strange. But the tipping thing can get out of control because of these iPads that are like, oh, we could just put in tip there and see what happens. Like, I don't think that's very cool, actually, to do.
I hope that that's not the case, but I more hope that it's not the case that they're not getting commission, because that would be so absurd.
Right. Totally.
But we'll just assume that they are. And this was
so if you know, if you work at this wedding shop, please email me or text me. Actually, text me. Text the word advice to 503-751-8731 and then click the link and subscribe. And please seriously, it's free for 2 weeks. You can just subscribe and then unsubscribe if you want.
I
just want a mug with my face on it. Is that so much to ask for?
I will say I would never talk to the manager.
That's fair.
In this case, I mean, in any case, really, I mean, like, it would take.
I don't think you need to be call the manager over.
You would have to like run over my dog or something. Like, I don't. But I think I would approach the salesperson and I would ask her, just like maybe on the DL,
like the person ringing you up. You could be like, "Wow, do you guys not get commission?"
That person. Yeah, I would on the DL, because I used to be a salesperson. Yeah, I would on the DL be like, "You get commission, right?" Right. And I'm sure they would answer me, and I would. Of course, they would. And I would act accordingly. Yeah.
Right.
So I'm just saying, for all my non-confrontational babes out there.
Yeah. Whoever's ringing you up, you could just be like, whoa, do you guys not get commission? You know, just like, who's this tip go to is another question. Because
definitely. Like, that's always valid to ask. If there's like a tip jar out, you can always ask that. Right. Even at a restaurant or whatever.
Totally. Yeah.
Well, tip well.
Tip well, but only when you should. Yeah. Don't be
when you're eating out.
Guilted by machines into tipping if it's like something ridiculous. You do not have to.
If you weren't helped, probably don't tip. But if you were, please do.
Right. That's the thing that I'm like, I have accidentally tipped. And I think if you know what I mean? Like, because you're like, oh, just going through the motions and you're just so used to it. So when it's a purchase like this, like, what if you accidentally pushed 10%?
Tipped 10% and gave $500.
And you're like, oh, I just overdrew my, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
right.
I just maxed out my credit card.
Right.
And I don't know. That's why I'm like, it just
crazy
seems
bonkers.
Yeah, it's really dangerous, actually.
Yeah, I agree. A little bonkers.
Bonkers. Well, you know what? I think we did some good advising this week.
I think we did too. And if you have any questions for us, text Lizzy. She let you know how. You can find us at our emails. We're really Googleable. You can find us really easily. But you can also find all of our information in the description box below, as ever. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you. Subscribe. You know, everything.
Leave us 5 stars.
We love you.
And we'll be here next week.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to Why Though, the podcast. Listen to other episodes and read my column at OregonLive.com/whythough. You can support us by leaving a 5-star review or heading over to OregonLive.com/pod support.